Hello and welcome to W.I.N. I'm your host, Ian Richardson from Richardson Richardson Consulting, and today your guest is me. This is the second of a three-part of short episodes, around 7 to 10 minutes in length, giving a little bit of update to kick off the 2023 season of W.I.N. 2023 is season two. We had a great batch of guests, and I'm really excited for our lineup this year. I'm not going to give you any previews, but I actually want to talk about another offering, another media series that's happening at Richardson Richardson, and that is our webinar series, The Thursday Process. You can learn about Thursday Process by going to the website, thursdayprocess.com. All one word, no space, dash, anything like that. Thursday Process is a webinar series that I started last year around sharing knowledge. Throughout my career, first at Doberman, my IT company, and now at Richardson Richardson, I've had a mixed relationship with process. At the start, I didn't see a huge amount of value. I fell into the entrepreneurial trap of people should be able to read my mind. They should be able to do things the way that I want them to be done. They should be able to find the same resources I can find. They should be able to put one and one together in the same way that I do. And that fallacy really hurt me. It didn't only hurt me, it hurt my team. It hurt my clients, it hurt my previous business. And at Richardson Richardson, I made the decision up front to do things differently. All of 2022 was spent documenting every single system, every single process from start to finish on how it should run. When things were complicated, we made step-by-step procedures. Even if the documentation already existed in a vendor system, we took that documentation and integrated it into our platform that we use for tracking documentation to make sure that everything was in one place. Now, documentation is never perfect. It should be a living, breathing document. So one of the processes I'm most happy about is our review process. How we take out information and say, hey, are these systems still right? Is the procedure still right? Does this reflect what we currently do? And we do that on a cadence with every single system that we have developed at R&R uh, over the course of a year. Every process gets pulled out, examined, and then put back away with any sort of edits, modifications, or deletions that might be needed. Internally, I like to learn. Carrie loves to learn. Steve loves to learn. I love to learn. And one of the best ways I've found for myself to learn is chatting with other entrepreneurs. I can't spend time with someone and not take away valuable lessons. And that was really the impetus of Thursday Process. We said, hey, what if we invited CEOs of managed service companies, of software companies across the IT channel and said, what's a process you've used in your business, in your organization, either at your current company or previous company? What's something that you could have used or have used successfully to fix a problem? And that's what started the webinar series. Last year, we had great guests. Our inaugural guest was Gavin Garbutt from Enable, same, and he came in and talked about how he used business process to create raving fans. We talked with Emily Glass of Synchro about remote workforce culture, Zach Eikenberry of Puck Security about raising series funding, Paul Azad from Service Tree about building culture through a process. And we have really a great list of past guests, but today I don't want to look backwards. I want to look forwards on what's coming up and who we have coming and joining us. So again, if you go to thursdayprocess.com, you can see everyone coming up, and we have a really, really powerful guest roster that I want to run through. Our kickoff guest, the first guest of the season, is Tahir Hamid from MSP Camp. MSP Camp does marketing support for managed service companies, and I would consider them a strategic partner in alignment with Richardson Richardson. We both do marketing, but we do different things. And Tanner's going to share the process that he uses at MSP Camp and at Alltech, the MSP that he's a member of right now, for vertical marketing campaigns, developing a campaign that will attract the specific vertical that you want to service or gain net new logos in. Taher is joining me on the 19th. That's next Thursday, a week from this Thursday, where we're going to dive into things. Then I'm joined by Nate Tudis over at Membrane. Membrane is Richardson Richardson CRM. They're a strategic partner of Richardson Richardson. We're diving wide and deep with them. Nate and I are going to be doing a series around sales process. One of the findings I found from my over 50 conversations with managed service companies across North America last year is that universally, everyone had ill-defined or straight up didn't have a sales process. I aim to fix that. So I am sharing every part of the Richardson Richardson sales process, every procedure, all documentation over a series with Nate, where we dive into this is what we have and this is what we're working on. So we're doing an overview on January 26th of the R&R sales process, and the last Thursday of the month for the first half of the year, we're going to dive deep onto each stage, each step in that process, and explore them together. February 2nd, I've got Damian Stevens from Servasi, a good friend of mine. He's sharing his process for disaster recovery testing. This was born, his company was born off of an experience Damian had at his old MSP where they were trusting backup reports, they were trusting those green check marks, and then they had a data loss event. Damian's walking through the process you can use as an MSP or an IT department to make sure this doesn't happen to you. It'll be a really, really good session with quite a bit of value. George Bardisi is coming on to share his process for throwing kick-ass parties. George, as many people know, is the CEO of BVoIP. He's also the CEO of MSP Initiative. And MSP Initiative is throwing the best parties in the channel. George is sharing how you can plan your own event, whether you're going after 1,000 attendees or 10 attendees. This process scales to meet the needs. George is joining us on February 16th. Damian's joining us on February 2nd. February 23rd, Nate's back to do a deep dive into the discovery stage of the R&R sales process. This is where sales are made. So I can't recommend enough for you to come and join us. My friend and mentor and previous HTG facilitator and the person who introduced me to Stratoff, Israel Lang, is joining me on March 2nd, which happens to be my son's 12th birthday. He's sharing a process he's developed around managing service team capacity. So if you've ever struggled about, hey, how much capacity do I have on my desk? When do I need to hire? When do I need to staff up, support new load? Israel's diving in with me on that process he's developed. This is a heavy hitting process that I can't recommend enough attending the session. My good friend Bob Kovich from Simplex IT is sharing a process around categorizing and approaching internal stakeholders. Those of you that know Bob knows that he is Mr. Co-managed IT. We've taken the process that Bob's uses for managing these complex relationships, and he's sharing it with you all. March 23rd, I'm joined by the one, the only Matt Lee from PAX8, the Senior Director of Security and Compliance. And Matt is sharing the process you can use to adopt security frameworks into your business. When Matt talks, he's got a massive megaphone. He teaches classes on this process, and he's sharing it and giving away the process you can use to adopt these frameworks for free on March 23rd. Rounding out the series, Nate's joining me again on March 30th, do a deep dive into value proposition. If you've ever struggled with closing, hey, how do I close the deal? How do I close on the ring? This is the session for you. It's March 30th. We will probably have one or two more guests that pop in, but this is a lineup of who's built out and ready today. If you go to thursdayprocess.com, you can see all of these people. You can see all of these sessions there and register for one or register for the whole series. So I'd encourage you to take some time and go out there. We're giving away these processes. There's no cost to register. There's no catch there. It's just an hour diving into them and sharing that knowledge. If you've got a really awesome process at your business, love to hear from you about it. If you go to r&r.consulting/connect, you can click on the Thursday process icon there. It'll take you to a form where you can share a little bit about yourself, what the process is, and get that process started to show up on our show for quarter two or later this year. Until next time, take it easy.